Hi, this is Mrs. Robertson, and today we are doing page 130, Math Boxes 3-5. And then we're going to learn how to do long division. If you have not already done so, you need to turn in your worksheet from yesterday. The worksheet looked like this. And you only had to do 9, 10, 11, 12, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, and 24 because we did the rest of them in class yesterday. So please make sure you give those to your teacher within about the next minute or so. And make sure your name is on the paper when it's given to your teacher or to the substitute. Now, let's go over the math boxes on page 130. The greatest common factor between 30 and 75 is 15. 15 is the largest number that will divide 30 and 75. The largest number that can divide a 36 and a 90 is 18. And the largest number that can divide a 24, a 60, and a 96 will be 12. One of the ways to figure out how to do this is you would list all the factors. Let me show you how to do letter A. You would list the factors of 30. You list the factors of 75. 1 times 30. 2 times 15. 3 times 10. 4 will not go into it. 5 times 6. Then you list the factors of 75. 1 times 75. 3 times 25. 5 times 15. And I think that's it. I don't think there are any others that will go into it. What's the largest factor they both have alike? They both have a 15, and that's how I got the answer for letter A. So for B and C, you would do the same thing. List the factors and circle the largest one that they have alike. Number 2, the answers, it says find a number in between them. I would change them to tenths. 5 times 2 is 10. 3 times 2 is 6. 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 2 is 8. What's between a 6/10 and an 8/10? 7/10. Again, I'm just going to change the 3/4 to 6/8. Well, there's nothing between 6/8 and 7/8, so we're going to go and change it to 16. 8 times 2 is 16. 6 times 2 is 12. 8 times 2 is 16. 7 times 2 is 14. What's between a 12/16 and a 14/16? 13/16. The answer is 1 and 13/16. Between 1/2 and 2/3, we're going to have a common denominator of 6. 3/6 and 4/6. Well, there's nothing between them. So we'll double it. We'll make it a 12. 6 times 2 is 12. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. 4 times 2 is 8. Between a 6/12 and an 8/12, there is a 7/12. The answer to problem number 3, it says one size vinyl record turns at a speed of 33 1/3 revolutions per minute. If a song lasts 3.5 minutes, how many times would the record spin? We're going to multiply. You're going to have 33 1/3 times 3.5. Write this down because you don't have it written down, many of you. Change them to an improper fraction. 99 plus 1 is 100 over 3 times 7 over 2. You'll end up with 700 over 6 and that will simplify to 116 and 4/6, or 116, and that simplifies to 2/3 times. That would be your answer. In problem number, there you can see the answer. In this one, I'm going to not estimate. We're just going to go ahead and show our division for this problem. When you divide, you keep, change, and the reciprocal of 1/4 is 4/1. You will end up with 12/8, which equals 1 and 4/8, which is 1 and 1/2. Write this down. There's a colored pencil up there that you can use. The next one, we're not going to estimate, we're just going to get the answer. We're going to have 4/5 times 9/8. Now, another way that you can do this to make it easier is to simplify before you multiply. If you have a number that's a numerator and another number that's a denominator and they're factors of one another, you can simplify so you're not multiplying with large numbers. 4 divides 4 once, 4 divides 8 twice. You end up with 9/10, and that is your answer, 9/10. In this problem, you have to change them to improper fractions. That's going to be 5/2 divided by 7/4. You're going to keep 5/2, change the division sign to a multiplication, and do the reciprocal of 7/4. You will end up with 20/14, which equals 1 and 6/14, and that will simplify to 1 and 3/7. So the final answer to that problem is 1 and 3/7. Now we're going to skip math box number 5, and we're going to go on to page 127. So let's turn back to page 127. And we're going to do long division, and you are only going to use it the traditional way. We are not going to do partial quotients. On page 126, you are not allowed to use partial quotients because we're going to get ready to do decimal division. Partial quotients does not work with decimal division. So we're only going to use the traditional way of dividing. Here we go. I don't want anyone else to get up out of their seats at this point. We're going to go over the techniques of how to do these problems. All right. This says we're going to take 652 and cut it up into groups of 12. How many groups of 12? So you start off. How many 12s are in a 6? None. How many 12s are in a 65? Well, 12 times 5 is 60. So you're going to put a 5 above the 5 and a 60 below it. Draw a line. Subtract. 65 minus 60 is 5. Write that down. Bring down the next number. How many 12s are in a 52? Well, it's smaller than a 5. Don't erase this information that you do over here. So we're going to try a 4. 12 times 4 is 48. That will work. Put the 4 above the 2. Subtract. And when you subtract, you're going to have a 4. Then we're going to go, let's see, on this lesson, we're going to just keep it as remainders. So for this lesson, we're going to show that we have a remainder. We don't have any other numbers to bring down, so it's 54 remainder 4. Circle your answer, okay? Let's go to the next problem. Number 2. In problem number 2, how many 24s are in a 9? None. How many 24s are in a 91? Carter, how many 24s do you think are in a 91? Just give me a number, guess. 4. Someone said 4. So let's take 24 times 4. 4 times 4 is 16. Put down a 6, carry a 1. 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 96 is too big. So Carter, what are we going to try next? Yes, because it's close. So you're going to take 24 times 3. 72. That will fit. So you put a 72 underneath the 91, and you put a 3 on top of the 1. Write that down. Subtract. 1 cannot subtract the 2. 9 turns into an 8, and the 1 turns into an 11. 11 minus 2 is 9. And 8 minus 7 is 1. Bring down the next number. It's a 7. How many 24s are in 197? Well, it's going to be bigger than a 4. What number do you want to try, Abraham?
7.
What? 7? Okay. So let's take 24 times 7. 7 times 4 is 28. Carry a 2. 7 times 2 is 14. Plus 2 is 16. That's close. Let's try the 8 to see if the 8 is too big. 24 times 8. 8 times 4 is 32. Put down a 2, carry a 3. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 3 is 19. Oh, it will work. So we're going to put 192 underneath, put the 8 on top of the 7, subtract. You have a remainder of 5. 38, remainder 5. Are there any questions? Now, you have to show all of the work. You cannot just write down the answer at the top of the page or at the top of the problem. Let's go on to problem number 3. Actually, I want you to do problem number 3. I'm going to walk around to see how you are doing on 1 and 2 to make sure you are doing them correctly. I'm going to put it on pause and walk around. Now let's go over how to do these problems. In number 3, how many 68s are in a 6? None. How many 68s are in a 66? None. Ooh, we got to go all the way up to the 668. We know it's going to be a pretty good size number, so don't use like a 1 or a 2. What number should I guess with first? Since it's a pretty big number, what do you suggest? Yes. An 8. Let's try an 8. 8 times 8 is 64. Put down a 4, carry a 6. 8 times 6 is 48, plus 6 is 52. That's pretty good size. Let's try 9 just to make sure. 68 times 9. 9 times 8 is 72. Put down a 2 and carry a 7. 9 times 6 is 54, plus 7 is 61. Ooh, it looks like the 9 is going to work. It's bigger than 524. Put a 9 above the 8 neatly. Put 612 under 668. Am I going too fast? Okay. Subtract. 8 minus 2 is 6. 6 minus 1 is 5. Bring down the next number. It's a 4. How many 68s are in 564? Well, we've already done the work for that one. What did you get? Yes. It's an 8. Very nice. Put an 8 above the 4. Put down 524 underneath that. Subtract. 6 minus 2 is 4. There are no other numbers to bring down, so it's 98, remainder 40. Any questions? Okay, let's do problem number 4. How many 32s are in a 9? None. How many 32s are in a 95? What do you think? What's your guess? Yes, Becky? 2. 64. Should we try 3? Just to make sure. 32 times 3 is 96. Oh, it's just one too big, isn't it? Yeah. So we're going to put the 2 above the 5. Vic was right. You get a 64. Subtract. 5 minus 4 is 1. Yep, 31 is smaller than a 32. Bring down the next number. How many 32s are in a 319? It's going to be a big number. What do you think? Yeah. Let's try 9. So we have plenty of room. Let's show 32 times 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Put down an 8, carry a 1. 9 times 3 is 27, plus 1 is 28. Yep, that will work. 10 would be 320, and that's too big. So put a 9 neatly above the 9. Put 288 below 319. Subtract. 9 minus 8 is 1. Can 1 subtract 8? No. You borrow from the 3, it turns into a 2, that turns into an 11. Our answer is a 31. Bring down the next number. It's a 5. All right, well, it looks like it's going to be a 9 again, right? Yep, let's put the 9 above the 5. We know that 32 times 9 is 288. Borrow from the 1, make that a 15. 15 minus 8 is 7. Now that's a 0. Borrow from the 3, it turns into a 2, so that's a 10. 10 minus 8 is 2. There are no other numbers to bring down, so the answer is 299, remainder 27. All right? Now, we're going to practice dividing more numbers, and some of them are going to be a little bit easier than these. So we're going to do this worksheet here. I'm going to give everyone this worksheet. All right, you should put up your math journals at this time, and while I pass out this worksheet. Okay, now have the side that says M6U3 notes, divide multi-digit numbers. And we're also going to do the back side where we're going to divide a decimal by a whole number today. So we're going to do 2 different types of problems. Let's start with this page. This is like what we were doing in our math journal, where we're going to have remainders. Here we go. Put 595 in the box. Kids, this is called your dividend. 23 is called a divisor, and the answer is called a quotient. Now we're going to try to find the quotient. How many 23s will go into a 59? Let's try 2. 23 times 2 is going to be 46. I think that'll work because if I use a 3, it's going to be too big. So I'm going to put a 2 above the 9 and the 46 below 59. Subtract. 9 minus 6 is 3. 5 minus 4 is 1. And you want to make sure that your remainder is always smaller than your divisor. Okay? Now bring down the next number. How many 23s are in 135? Well, you just guess. You know it's going to be bigger than a 2. I know that 2 times 7 is 14, so it's going to be smaller than a 7. I'm going to try a 6. So 23 times 6. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry a 1. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus 1 is 3. Oh, it was close, but it's too big. So what's 1 smaller than a 6? A 5. 23 times 5. 5 times 3 is 15. Carry a 1. 5 times 2 is 10. Plus 1 is 11. You're going to put 115 below it. And you're going to put a 5 above the 5. Now we subtract. 135 minus 115 is 20. Are there any other numbers to bring down? No. So it's 25, remainder 20. Circle your answer. Any questions? Okay, let's go on to the next problem. I'm going to do 1, 4, and 7, and then you'll have to do the others. Let's do problem number 4. In problem number 4, we are going to put 925 in the box. It's the dividend. 58 outside, that's the divisor. Now, how many 58s are in a 9? None. How many are in a 92? 1. This one's pretty easy to start off because you know 2 50s is 100 and that's too big. So you put your 58 under the 92. Oh no, 2 cannot subtract 8. So we borrow from the 9, it turns into an 8, and that turns into a 12. 12 minus 8 is 4. 8 minus 5 is 3. Yep, 34 is smaller than a 58, so everything is good. Bring down the next number. How many 58s are in a 345? Well, kids, another way to help you on your guessing technique is to make a thinking cloud. Is 58 closer to a 50 or a 60? 60. So then I think, how many 6s are in a 34? Probably 5. It's going to be a 5 or a 6. So I'm going to take 58 times 5 and see how close I get. 58 times 5. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 5 is 25, plus 4 is 29. 290 is close. I'm going to try 6 just to make sure it's not too big. 58 times 6. 6 times 8 is 48. Carry a 4. 6 times 5 is 30, plus 4 is 34. Ooh, it's just too big, isn't it? So we're going to use the 5. 290, subtract, borrow, 14. So it's 55, or 15, remainder 55. And circle it. Okay? Now let's go on to problem number 7. In problem number 7, you're going to divide 3,604 by 85. Write that down. Okay, how many 85s in a 3? None. How many 85s in a 36? None. And a 360. Well, in your thinking cloud, you can think of it as an 80 or a 90. It doesn't matter which one, it just helps you to guess. 90 will go into, or a 9 goes into 36 4 times. So let's try 4. 85 times 4. Carry a 2. 340. That's close because that's only 20 difference, isn't it? Yeah, I did a good job of guessing on that one. Yeah, I'll just put it down there. Go. So I'm going to put a 4 above the 0. 340. Subtract. Yep, 20 is smaller than 85. Bring down the next number. How many 85s are in a 204? Well, in my thinking cloud, if it's a 9, 9 goes into 22 times. 8 would go into 22 times also. So it's probably going to be a 2, isn't it? Let's take 85 times 2. Again, it's a guessing game, kids. 2 times 5 is 10, carry a 1. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 1 is 17. I know if I take it times a 3, 3 times 8 is 24, and that's going to be too big. So I put the 2 there, 170, subtract. 4 minus 0 is 4. Borrow from the 2, it turns into a 1. 10 minus 7 is 3. So it's 42, remainder 34. This is how I want your problems to look. I should see your thinking numbers. What did you think when you were doing these? Because I can't do these in my head. No, you have to show me your thinking numbers. So what I want you to do, I want you to finish doing these 6. I don't know if we're going to have time to go on the back side, but I want to show you this side is easier than the other side. I'm going to do a couple problems with you on this side. So let's look. Problem number 1. Everyone have the other side turned over? Very nice. You're going to put 9.2 in the box. You're going to like these because, look, the divisors are single-digit numbers. Don't those look easy? This page is easier than the other one. You just have to get your decimal point in the right spot. Divided by 4. See that, kids? Now, the first thing you do is put that decimal point. If everybody got their decimal point, remember, these problems will make you happy because you like the divisors are small. Now we divide. How many 4s are in a 9? 2. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract. Bring down. How many 4s are in a 12? Yes, 3. See how easy these are? All right, let's do number 5. I'm going to put 3.2 in the box, 4 outside of it. Put your decimal point straight up. How many 4s are in a 3? 0. How many 4s are in a 32? 8. And we're done. See how easy these are? Go sit down, please. I'll take care of you in a moment. One more problem, and then I'm going to tell you which ones to do on this page. 11 and 8/10 divided by a 4. What's the first thing we're going to do? Put the decimal point straight up. How many 4s are in an 11? 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract. 11 minus 2 is 3. Bring down the 8. How many 4s are in a 38? 9. 4 times 9 is 36. Subtract. Oh, this is like this example here. Kids, we're going to add, I call them a dotty dot. We've done this before when we were doing money. Add a 0. Bring it down. How many 4s are in a 20? 5. It's like $2.95. Okay, so on this page, you can do, let's do 2, 3, 4, and then you can choose one more problem. I don't care. So on this page here, do 2, 3, 4, and then I think I want you to choose one from this line. You can do 6, 7, or 8, and then choose one from this line. Okay, so then you do 2 more. Do 2, 3, and 4, and 2 more problems. You can choose which other 2 you want to do. But it needs to be one from the second line and one from the bottom line. Any questions? Yes.
Are both sides real?
Yes. So, finish this side. You have 6 problems to do on this one. This side is very easy. You have 5 problems. So, altogether, 11 problems. You have about 10 minutes. And then what you don't get finished, you do it at home. Have a good day.